So this video is about what the Matrix actually is. You hear a lot of people online throwing that term around, like break free from the Matrix. But this is sort of what it really is in terms of neurology. Um, First of all, the Matrix idea came from Jean Baudrillard, who's this French philosopher, and he would say things like Disneyland exists to conceal that all of real America is Disneyland. So he's basically saying the stage conceals that the rest of the world is artificial in some way, meaning we can't look at anything and not see abstract categories like table, um, wall, chair. I mean, I woke up from a nap when I was like 12 years old, and for a split second, split second, it's like there was nothing. Like I didn't, and then it all just like popped on, like wall, bed, garbage can, right? And we don't even notice that. We can't even see the world. Reality is more like how a cat sees the world. First of all, a cat sees rules of thumb. It doesn't like see these one-to-one relationships. Our left hemisphere makes either-or relationships. So like when people during COVID and they started saying like the masks sort of work, and people are like, what do you mean the masks sort of work? They either work or they don't work. And that's this idea that the world should work according to our left hemisphere's either or map, meaning it is or it isn't, it will or it won't, and it has to do with our verb phrases. Remember, left hemisphere is speech, so that's why we're getting these either or relationships. And these either or relationships explain all of technology. You know, you have all your if then statements and all bureaucracy, and then all the abstract definitions that we use is just all circular in its definitions, and all the abstract icons associated with it aren't something that we can see in nature. Like, you know, if I say the word church, you're going to have like this abstract notion of church in your mind's eye, and it's not going to look like any specific church, right? So if the screen is the matrix or the screen doesn't conceal reality, it conceals that reality is already artificial. Our language is artificial, and it's being imposed on reality or nature. So we have this reality that is already represented by our left hemisphere. They call that a hyper real, but I want to add something called a hypernatural, and that's what, you know, theoretical physics basically is, and it's imposing their geometrical forms over everything and then confusing it for nature. It's like kind of like confusing latitude and longitude lines for the squiggliness of the world. That's exactly what's happening. Also, fake facts conceal that all facts are fake. All these either or facts, you know, saying like the mask works or it doesn't work. That's artificial. You're talking about artificial stuff. You could also see the left hemisphere becoming more prominent through history. Everything's becoming more automated. Our left hemisphere is like our automated mind. Also, you can see it in the aesthetics. Like heirloom tomatoes became Safeway tomatoes. Classic cars became whatever it is we're calling cars now. They look like printers, right? With no curviness, or it's all slick and cheap looking. Then you look at McDonald's 30 years ago and it was all colorful with slides, and now it's like all slick. And then you look at the houses and buildings that used to exist a long time ago, and they're really intricate and interesting to look at, and now everything's bland and slick and cheap looking. And people think about it, but they don't really know why that's happening. And it's because our left hemisphere is becoming more emphasized. That's also why everything's becoming more bureaucratic and more technology oriented. Also see things like how trading apples for oranges became prices. You know, that's the left hemisphere digits. And then it went further It went from negotiated prices to fixed prices. And that's also the left hemisphere. The left hemisphere wants everything automated. It doesn't want things to wiggle. I think that's all I want to say for now.